Have you ever wondered where a warrior's identity really comes from? Not the armor, not the sword, but the blood itself. Tonight, we're going to slow things down and travel deep into one of history's quietest mysteries. So settle in, lower the lights, and let your thoughts drift. By the end of this story, you may see Japan's legendary warriors in a completely new way. If you enjoy thoughtful stories like this, designed to calm the mind while opening new questions, consider subscribing now. New mini-documentaries like this help thousands of people unwind, reflect, and sleep better every night. Now take a breath, because this story is not about battles or heroes. It's about DNA, memory, and how identity survives long after the swords are gone. Where did Japan's warrior class really come from? For centuries, the answer seemed obvious. The samurai were seen as a natural extension of the Japanese people, shaped by land and climate, an unbroken cultural line stretching deep into the past. Many believed they were simply farmers who took up arms, slowly evolving into an elite military class. Others imagined them as noble descendants of ancient clans, bound together by blood, loyalty, and tradition. Yet beneath this confident story has always been a quiet tension. If the samurai were purely native, why do their origins feel so sudden in history? Why does a rigid warrior identity appear almost fully formed, rather than gradually built? These questions lingered for generations, rarely challenged, because the story felt complete. But completeness is not the same as truth, and sometimes, the most stable narratives hide the deepest uncertainty. According to the traditional view, Japan's population developed largely in isolation. Early hunter-gatherers, followed by agricultural migrants, slowly blended together. Over time, social classes emerged. Farmers grew rice, artisans made tools, aristocrats governed, and when instability rose, warriors appeared to protect land and power. History books told us the samurai were born from this internal process, shaped by local conflict and refined by codes like Bushido. Nothing dramatic, nothing foreign, just evolution within a closed system. It is a story that feels orderly and reassuring. Everyone comes from the same place. Everyone belongs. For a long time, there was no strong reason to doubt it. Written records seemed to agree. Cultural continuity appeared unbroken. The official story settled into classrooms, museums, and imagination. And then, very quietly, something changed. Everything changed when scientists stopped asking who samurai claimed to be, and started asking what their DNA remembered. Advances in genetic sequencing changed historical investigation. Researchers extracted usable DNA from ancient remains across Japan. Burial sites became biological archives. Statistical modeling improved comparison with modern populations. DNA did not care about legends or honor codes. It only tracked inheritance. Early results revealed patterns that did not fit the narrative. Certain genetic markers appeared overrepresented in warrior remains. Others were unexpectedly absent. These were not dramatic discoveries yet. No headlines, no bold claims, just quiet discrepancies. But history often begins to unravel, not with a shock, but with a pause. A moment where the data seems to hesitate, as if asking us to look again. That's not what they found. When geneticists looked closer at early warrior remains, results surprised them. The DNA did not point to a single, uniform origin. Instead, it suggested layers. Some markers aligned with ancient island populations, others hinted at connections to the Asian mainland. These appeared more often in warrior burials than farmers. This was subtle, not dramatic. No one claimed invasion or replacement, but the pattern persisted enough to raise questions. Why would a social class carry different genetic signals than the population it supposedly emerged from? The discovery did not overturn history overnight. It simply introduced doubt. And doubt, once planted, proven to grow quietly. The paradox grew clearer when culture met genetics. Samurai identity relied on behavior, ethics, and loyalty. Armor styles changed. Language remained stable. Rituals evolved. Yet the genetic data suggested continuity where culture shifted, and difference where tradition claimed sameness. This was the core contradiction. Culturally Japanese in every visible way, yet biologically more complex than expected. In some regions, warrior graves showed higher diversity than the surrounding villages. In other regions, older lineages were preserved, even as society around them mixed. This flipped expectations. We assume elites change fastest. But here, the opposite sometimes appeared true. Power structures shifted, but family lines endured. Culture moved forward, while genes stayed quietly behind. The explanation, when it came, was almost gentle. No grand battles were required, no sweeping migrations. Instead, researchers focused on social mechanics. Marriage patterns mattered deeply. Warriors often married within restricted circles, reinforcing specific lineages over generations. Adoption played a role too, but adoption did not always mean genetic integration. Status spread faster than blood. Warrior identity expanded, while core bloodlines stayed stable. Mainland individuals entered elite roles through service. Skill and loyalty mattered more than origin. This was selective absorption, a quiet process unfolding across centuries, invisible to chronicles but preserved in DNA. The contradiction began to soften. The story did not break. It adjusted. A new question then emerged. Where else did this pattern appear? Scientists widened the lens beyond Japan's main islands. DNA from Kyushu, Ryukyu, and northern Honshu showed regional differences. Regions closer to the mainland showed more continental markers. Remote regions preserved older island lineages. Yet warrior identity looked identical everywhere. Armor, ritual, hierarchy, and loyalty language remained constant. Geography shaped genes, but not status. Culture traveled faster than blood. Similar patterns appeared in Europe, the steppe, and Egypt. Power moved through titles faster than reproduction. DNA moved slowly. Identity moved quickly. The samurai were not a race, but a role. That role dissolved after legal abolition in the 19th century. Marriage barriers collapsed, and lineages blended rapidly. Genetic boundaries faded within generations. Samurai DNA did not vanish. It dissolved. Modern Japan carries those threads everywhere and nowhere. Identity proved social before biological. Genetics recorded origin. Society recorded meaning. The samurai myth was not erased, but reframed. Identity endured not through purity, but through adaptation across time.